Located deep in the Alps of Austria lies a foreboding and ominous jagged peak known as the Iron Giant. This fully operational iron mine is home to the most unhospitable hard enduro race on the World Enduro Super Series. This is the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble, and you are watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
Hello and welcome to the 2018 Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble here in Austria. 500 bikes behind us are ready to do battle up a 20-mile course, up a mountain. It's going to be incredible. My name is Jack Nichols. I'm joined by Red Bull athlete and a 10-time US Trials champion, Jeff Aaron. Jeff, what are the challenges these riders are going to be facing today?
Yeah, you know, this is a working iron mine and like one of the gnarliest races on their schedule. And there's huge hill climbs, there's a slippery forest section, and crazy rock sections.
Yeah, it's certainly got everything. With two riders down already, reigning champion Alfredo Gomez won't compete because he injured himself in training. Also, the top US hope is out too, and he was your pick. So now Cody Webb's not competing. Who are you going for?
You know, this really opens the door for the past winners. Johnny Walker, Graham Jarvis, and Taddy Blazusiak's back. We also have Colton Haker, who was your fastest qualifier on the prologue. It is going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, we're about to get underway, so let's start. Here we go then, 10 rows of 50 riders, 500 bikes about to take on the Iron Giant. Carl Katok, the inventor of this race, is about to drop the flag. And away they go. Who is going to get the all-important hole shot down into the first corner? Colton Haker's on the inside. The orange bike of Taddy Blazusiak is in there as well. Haker just in front, but here comes Blazusiak on the right-hand side as they come up now towards the first hill. And it is Taddy Blazusiak, the 5-time winner of this race, that has got the hole shot. Jeff, it's a long race. Does it really matter that he's in front early on?
Well, maybe not for some riders, but most of these guys want to get out front, stay out of the dust, and lead this race.
So Taddy Blazusiak leading, Colton Haker is behind him in second place, but still a long, long way to go. Blazusiak with the advantage here in Erzberg.
You got a little, you can use much more.
Hey everybody, Sal Masekela here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to the small Austrian village of Eisenerz. Now looming above it is a peak known as Erzberg, aka the Iron Giant. Eisenerz's existence stems from its location here as the oldest mine in all of Europe. Its population is 4,300 humans, but for one long weekend each year, the mine ceases operations, the town swells by tens of thousands of competitors, race teams, and of course, rabid hard enduro fans. Now the Spaniard and 2017 champion Alfredo Gomez, he is out with an injury, so all eyes are on Johnny Walker and Graham Jarvis, who have literally dominated here for the past several years. Is one of them going to be able to make that return to the top of the podium, or is this the year when the torch gets passed? A changing of the guard, if you will, from the veterans like Jarvis, Walker, or 5-time winner Taddy Blazusiak to the young guns like Billy Bolt and Manny Lettenbichler. We're gonna send it back to Jack Nichols and Jeff Aaron now for the call.
Thanks, Sal, and there you can see the scale of just the start of the Iron Giant. This is row 3, heading down in towards the first right-hander and trying to scrabble for grip and get up the hill. Still another 6 rows to come after these. And it is Roland Vogel on his KTM who has managed to get the whole shot in this third group. But these guys, they're not the top guys, but they're far from amateurs.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best 150 riders out of 1,800 starters for this event. So these guys are talented riders, but they're not going to be the same as that top 50.
No, indeed, and you'll see just how they can't quite get up as quickly as the top 50. And there you can see already Martin Rathgeb running into trouble. And some of them having to come back. But here's Taddy Blazusiak, the race leader. He is at Waterpipe, the third checkpoint on this course. The Waterpipe there on the right-hand side, as Johnny Walker is in second place. And this is the first big challenge, I suppose, for the top guys.
Yeah, these guys are full throttle up these hills, and most of them seem to make pretty short work of it, but they are huge.
Yeah, we went and had a look up at it yesterday, and it's quite daunting, really, to stand on the top and look down. That was Billy Bolt in third place. Here comes Manny Lettenbichler. He is currently in fourth spot, so a Good start for him as he makes his way up to the top, the 20-year-old German, but it's Tadej Blazuzyak, 5 times winner of this event, retired last year, now he's back, and he's sprinting towards yet another title, but still a long way to go. If he does manage to pull it off, though, he will win a piece of the mountain. Let's go to Tina Dixon.
Thanks, Jack. And when you win an event of this caliber, you usually get a trophy and some sort of cash payout. But you want to know what you win if you win Hare Scramble? It's a rock. That's it. There's no cash payout. And this is what it looks like. Now, this rock is cut directly from the mountain. I've been told it's about 25% iron. It's incredibly heavy. I've tried to pick it up several times. But in talking to the riders, it's all about what this rock represents, all the hard work to win this event. So for them, it's about pride and proving to themselves that they have conquered the most prestigious event in Hard Enduro, and they have conquered the Iron Giant.
Thank you, Tina. One man trying to conquer it again is Tadej Blazuzyak, the race leader, the Polish rider, as he now drops down the hill. And these descents can be maybe not quite as challenging, but certainly as scary as the uphill parts.
Definitely, it's all loose rocks. You know, this is an iron mine, and it's like they're skating down these hills, and they've got these transfer sections. They're trying to keep pace, and they know this event's just going to get harder and harder as the day goes on.
Tadej Blazuzyak was 8th on his last appearance here in 2016, did finish the race, and look at the air he's getting as he makes his way up Bathtub now. And this is on board with Billy Bolt as he comes up to the same hill. He's running in 3rd place at the moment. Let's go up with him.
Oh, look at him. He's having to drop gears because this hill's so steep.
And is that him realizing, you know, halfway up, I've got to drop the gears?
Doesn't have enough power, so he's got to kick it down a gear and keep the revs up.
This is back with Manny Lettenbichler. You'll see them just catching a bit of air here and there as well as he crests the rise, currently in 4th spot. And then behind him, we've got Wade Young, the South African, 3 times winner of the Roof of Africa, and finished 4th last year. Wade Young currently running in 5th place here, doing a good job in these early stages. And a fellow South African following up behind in 6th place, the 19-year-old Travis Teasdale. Here he comes, one of the youngest riders in the field, and both South Africans doing very well, but we are very much in the early stages of this 20-mile course. So Tadej Blazuzyak still leading. Can the 5-time champion bring home a record 6th title? You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the Styrian Mountains of Austria. It is man and machine versus the mountain here at the 24th Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. And that's Tadej Blazuzyak, the race leader, just coming up to the top of checkpoint 5 at 3 Kings. And he is being followed by Johnny Walker, currently in 2nd place. Billy Bolt, another British rider, is in 3rd, as Blazuzyak now just tries to pick his slot, and choosing the line going down here is crucial, Jeff. He's actually almost turning around there.
Yeah, he just looks like he's being very selective about what he wants to do. He doesn't want to hit anything big on the way down, and so he took his time.
So Blazuzyak is the race leader. Keep your eyes to the right. There is Johnny Walker. And then just coming up now will be the 3rd place rider, Billy Bolt. There he is, popping into view and almost going and T-boning Johnny Walker, but not quite. So those are the top 3, all right together. And the riders have been saying all weekend just how tight this race is going to be. It's amazing to see them, Jeff, so close together on the mountain.
Yeah, on these faster sections, you know, they can't really get away from each other. They're going into some harder sections coming up here, the slippery forest, and they don't want anybody to get a gap because then it'll be hard to recover.
Well, Tina Dixon is down at one of those forest sections.
Yeah, and Jack, every time I come to this mountain, I've been coming 7 years now, it has changed in some significant way, and usually it has disappeared. You have to remember that this is a working mine, and they're constantly blowing things up. So where I'm standing right now, this used to be the section known as Green Hell. In fact, right here, that used to be the switchback. It would go up, back, and it was the area that Johnny Walker had a lot of problems with. There were some major passes, but it's no longer here. Now, what is here, it's still called Green Hell, but the entrance is right behind me, and it will go straight up in the dirt. This is huge. It's really wet. It's going to be very slick, and it could be a potential game changer for the riders.
Still quite a way, though, to go before we get to Green Hell, but very much in the forest section. This is on board with Manny Lettenbichler. He's in third place. He's got past Billy Bolt, and now he's trying to close in on Johnny Walker, and he goes past Johnny Walker up into second place. Walker looked like he was having a few troubles there.
This POV footage is really cool. You can hear the bike just lugging. These guys are all riding two strokes, and they're just using the bottom end of the motor, trying to get grip. They're all using the gummy factory tires. That's what you need to get through these really slick forest sections.
You can see Taddy Blazusiak, the race leader, up in front as well. And these kind of stretches seem fairly kind of straightforward, your path. But then when you get into the woods, how are you picking where to go? And what are you looking out for to tell you where to go?
I think some of these side hills are really tricky. That's what gives these guys a hard time. And honestly, some of the footage isn't doing it justice on how hard it really is, but this has always been a difficult section at Erzberg.
If this isn't doing it justice, then I'm glad I'm not out there as they come up the hill and you're just looking out for those little red arrows you can see on some of the trees from side to side. And there is Taddy Blazusiak now getting into a bit of trouble, turning around and then lining up, and you can see everyone you almost end up queuing to get up the trickier parts.
On some of these big hills, they just have to zigzag their way up. So they go up to a certain point where they start to get stuck, and they flip it around and then try again.
You can hear how little grip there is when you hear the revs going up like that. The wheel is just spinning, and you're not going anywhere. This is a good ride from Manny Lettenbichler. Fantastic stuff as he comes up to the top, and then another hard left. Is it easier to follow at this point than to be out in front?
Well, you got to have a little bit of a gap, because if somebody makes a mistake right in front of you, then it'll cause you to make a mistake. So you got to give them a little bit of breathing room, but not let them get away.
And there was Taddy Blazusiak on the left-hand side. Looks as though he was in trouble, and now Manny Lettenbichler is leading. Little scan at checkpoint 8 repository. And we have a new race leader in Manny Lettenbichler. But no rest for Lettenbichler, because this mountain just keeps going on, and these tricky sections don't get any easier. Jeff, you've competed here in the past, finished this race in the past. Just how tough is it?
This was one of the harder sections for me. You know, it always stays wet in the woods. I'd always seen videos and photos, and it was always just dry rocks. And so I was really surprised when we got in there, and I was pushing and huffing and puffing, trying to make my bike get through some of these sections.
Well, while the pros are up at checkpoint 8, the last 50 to make the cut are heading down towards the first corner as row 10 finally gets underway. They've been sitting down there in the baking heat for a long time, but these are amateurs who have just made it into the 500 starters, and if they can get to the first checkpoint, I think they'll be happy.
Yeah, it's rough stuff out there, and it's all beat up from everybody taken off from the course, so they're going to have a tough day.
Some dealing with it better than others as the final row gets going. At checkpoint 5, Three Kings, this is the kind of stuff, though, where it gets really tricky for the non-professional riders, and you can see some ropes being laid down, because until you get to the checkpoint at Machine, fans, anyone standing around at the side of the course can help people up, and you can see the riders going, yeah, throw me a rope, throw me a rope. It's chaos on the mountain.
It really goes to show how good the pros are, because they cruise right up that hill.
This is checkpoint 11 at Machine. Manny Lettenbichler is the race leader, and also down there is Tina Dixon.
Yeah, Jack, right now I'm at Machine, and you can see that's Manny Lettenbichler, the young ride, coming through with that lead. Watch him come up this. This is Machine, a very technical section, and right now we're getting word that they're a couple seconds apart between him. Billy Bolt should be coming in soon. We see Billy coming in right now, and remember, those two were on the podium at the first Hard Enduro race, so these young riders already making a statement here at Hare Scramble.
We're on board now with Billy Bolt, the young British rider, and you could really tell from that shot from where Tina is just how steep it is on this part of the course.
Yeah, this part's not only steep, but just loose, and it's really hard for these guys to get traction in here.
Billy Bolt just looking around. Is it obvious to you where he's going to go when you look at this? Because to me, it just looks like a sea of rocks.
You know, they've walked these sections and they've ridden these sections in the past, so they have some idea where they're going, and in the heat of the moment, they just got to get it done.
So it is Manny Lettenbichler leading the way, Billy Bolt in second, Johnny Walker in third. Graham Jarvis is up into 7th place, having been down in 17th at the checkpoint at Waterpipe. So, will youth prevail this year? More Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble when we return. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. This is the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble, and our leaders are now heading into the iconic section known as Carl's Dinner. This is where the rocks start to get really big. Since you were last with us at Machine, the riders have completed quite a long distance, and although this course is 20 miles long, some of it is fast and some of it is particularly slow. They've been through Machine, Devil's Kitchen, Elevator, Cuckoo's Nest, and now they find themselves in the famous Carl's Dinner. The route through changes every year. On this occasion, there's multiple passes of this challenging part of the course, and here they are now. Leading the way is Manny Lettenbichler, but Billy Bolt is right behind him. And this is where it starts to get really tough, Jeff.
Yeah, the two young guns are fighting for the top spot right now. It's awesome to see these guys. They both have good trials experience, and they've spent a lot of time in here walking the course, so they're both doing really well.
Billy Bolt, the leader of the new World Enduro Super Series, coming into this race, having won the opening round in Portugal a couple of weeks ago, and he is chasing down Manny Lettenbichler as they come across these huge rocks, and Tina Dixon is down there too.
Yeah, Jack, right now in Carl's Dinner, you can see behind me, that's Johnny Walker making his way through, currently in 3rd position. Now, keep in mind, last year, this is the part where he lost the race, and he told me earlier it was the tires. He chose a softer tire that had bigger knobbies on it, and then by the time he had gone through Carl's Dinner, the rocks had worn off all the knobbies, so he couldn't make any of the major climbs. But right now, Johnny Walker, he chose different tires and looking very good.
He certainly is. The knobbies, basically the tread of the tire, right?
Yeah, most of these guys are still using a relatively soft compound tire, and that really helps when it gets like this.
So this is the first place battle continuing. Manny Lettenbichler leading the way. And you can see his father, Andreas, there, is trying to help him and show him where to go. How important is that? If someone says, come over here, do you immediately follow them, or do you have to make your own decisions as well?
Well, Andreas knows what he's doing. He's not only won this event, but he's a multi-time German trials champion. He's really good at picking lines and being smart, and I think he's the perfect guide for the leader.
Johnny Walker there, running in 3rd place. Little pause for a swig of water for him. We see him race away on the flat stuff because of his motocross experience, but maybe struggling a little more when the rocks get big like this. The opposite is probably true of Graham Jarvis, currently running in 4th place.
Yeah, he came from way back, and you're going to start to see him shine in this area. He's a longtime trials rider. He has amazing feel with the bike. He can get grip where nobody else can. He's got good balance and control, and this is going to be his strong point.
Going to be fantastic to watch him through here. Tina Dixon's got a close-up view.
Yeah, Jack, Graham Jarvis right here. This is the bottom section of Carl's Dinner. He's making his way up through the pack right now, sitting in 4th place. Something to keep in mind. The 3 riders in front of him are all under the age of 28. Graham Jarvis is 43 and showing no sign of slowing down anytime soon. But at this point in the race, the big question is, does he have enough time to catch those leaders?
Well, that's the big question. Jeff Aaron, what's the answer?
I would never count out Jarvis at the Erzbergrodeo.
43 years of age, as Tina said, 3 times winner here, 15 other major wins as well. This, though, is the battle for 1st place, a little bit further up the mountain. Manny Lettenbichler up in front of Billy Bolt now, and Bolt is really closing in. That must spur you on when you can see the guy right in front of you. You can see them really having to wrestle the bikes. Is there an advantage here if you're sort of a taller rider?
I think you can definitely touch the ground and push your bike around a little bit more if you have more leverage. But these guys are getting tired now. They've been working hard through here, and you could tell they're just they're surviving.
This is the battle for 3rd place. Johnny Walker and Graham Jarvis. Johnny Walker on the right-hand side with the blue suit on, and Graham Jarvis is coming up, and he's going to be past Johnny Walker pretty soon. We were talking about the differences between these two's riding experience. We're really seeing it here, aren't we?
Yeah, Graham just can't get around him here. He's kind of stuck behind him, even though he's right on his back bumper. There's just not too many options for other lines at the moment.
This is Wade Young still running in 5th place, the South African doing a very good job. And the 22-year-old who was the youngest ever winner of the Roof of Africa. He was just 16 years old when he won it back in 2012. Very exciting talent for Wade Young. And he is forcing his way. It does feel like they're forcing their way up the mountain.
You know, Wade doesn't have a lot of trials experience, but he is doing really well. He's a super strong guy.
Tadej Blazusiak, meanwhile, you may remember he was leading in the early stages, but he's now slipped back down to 9th position, the 35-year-old, so a little bit younger than Graham Jarvis, but certainly older than your Billy Bolts and your Manny Lettenbicklers. And he has come back this season for an assault on that World Enduro Super Series. And I think he's going to be struggling to win this one, I think, Tadej.
Yeah, I think he had some problems earlier in the race, and now he's just trying to claw his way back into contention.
Huge amount of support here in Erzberg for Tadej. Polish flags are plenty, but he is still in Carl's dinner at the moment. It's Manny Lettenbickler who's the first man out of Carl's dinner. Will he be able to hold on to the lead? You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. I am your host, Sal Masekela, and this is the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. Not only is the Iron Giant a formidable opponent to the top hard enduro riders in the world, but there are nearly 450 other competitors whose physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual being is crushed by the brutal early stages of this race. Both man and machine pushed to the brink across 4 days of competition, yet for some reason, they continue to return year after year.
Well, watching that, Jeff Aaron, does it make you want to be out there right now?
Oh, I'm competitive. I'd love to be out there, but they're not making it look very fun.
And I'm not sure this is going to get much fun either. This is Green Hell. Manny Lettenbickler, the race leader, coming up one of the trickiest parts of the course. Caught people out in 2014. 4 riders helped each other up it, and as a result, Joint won the race. And Lettenbickler here, his father actually was one of those riders that won that race in 2014, and he is trying to get up. There hasn't been a huge amount of rain over the last couple of days. It's not absolutely soaking, but there's still very little grip.
Yeah, water was literally bleeding out of the ground and was kind of running down this trail. Now it's kind of churned up and just looks like, you know, good dirt, but it's so steep and there's still loose rocks on top of it, and there's just no traction there for these guys.
Manny Lettenbickler leading the way. Here comes Billy Bolt, though, meanwhile, and Bolt's got a pretty good run, except he's up in the trees. Billy Bolt up into the trees there on the left-hand side.
I don't think that line's going to work too well for him.
So he now tries to rejoin the course. Or, no, he's put his bike down, actually. He's going over to help Manny Lettenbickler. So the two of them deciding, or at least Billy Bolt deciding, that it's best if they work together. But even with 2 of them, it's tough to get it up.
Yeah, they're probably thinking about the guys behind them. You know, they want to get through this section because they know that Jarvis and Johnny are coming soon.
How physically demanding is this? Obviously, it looks incredibly tough.
Yeah, you know, think about all the checkpoints they've already been through. They were super demanding, and now you come to this impossible hill, and I would say they're at 50% energy levels right now.
Wow, and how much do these bikes weigh that they're trying to haul up?
Yeah, it's like hauling 250 pounds of dead weight up this hill. You're working hard to push that thing up there.
And trying to control the throttle as well, I guess, is going to be tough because you're sort of arms outstretched on the handlebar.
Yeah, they're slipping. You can't get good footing. You know, you accidentally stall the bike. You're spinning out. You're slipping. It's not easy.
So Billy Bolt trying to drag up the bike of Manny Lettenbichler. You can hear the cheers of "Come on, boys." He has actually lost the engine there, hasn't he, Manny, for the moment?
Yeah, it looks like his magic button isn't working. He's having to kickstart it.
And there he goes, fires up again. A lot of cheering coming. They're allowed to help each other, but they're not allowed outside assistance. We saw in the earlier stages that fans and, team members can help, but here it's just the riders out there by themselves, and not by themselves much longer, because here comes Johnny Walker steaming down towards Green Hell. He's running in 4th place, and Graham Jarvis is running in 3rd place in front of him. And there is Jarvis. So Jarvis has made it up to Green Hell and has rocketed up relatively compared to the other two, but he's getting a bit stuck where Manny Lettenbichler was earlier on. But he's now, I suppose, technically up into 2nd position because he's in front of Billy Bolt's bike, even though he's not in front of Billy Bolt himself, because they're still just getting that bike over the final hurdle. And here comes Johnny Walker now, carving his way up the hill and into Billy Bolt. Bolt getting in the way a little, and that just took the momentum off, but these two have rocketed up.
Yeah, and this may have backfired for Billy Bolt. We'll have to see how this plays out.
So Graham Jarvis then, is this just experience? Because, we had the two youngsters up at the front. They've decided to help each other out. Graham Jarvis comes along, and as well as Johnny Walker, who, 27, he's not exactly old, but just that little bit more experience.
I think the youngsters might have just been spent. These guys have got more experience. Maybe they've saved a little bit for the end of this race. And Graham is from the south of England, which is probably the most slippery place in the world. So the guy is just the king when it comes to slick riding.
Yep, if you want rain, go to England. That's always a good motto. Here comes Johnny Walker then. He's behind him. Manny Lettenbichler is gone meanwhile, so he has been helped up by Billy Bolt and is now on his way.
They're up to that off camber now, which looks really difficult. The trees are kind of holding them up, but they're having to push and carry their bike right through here. There's no help zone.
Presumably just basic things like height are going to be important at this point.
Yeah, being strong and being tall definitely helps when you're lugging a 250-pound motorcycle straight up the side of a mountain.
Yeah, you can see a little pat on the back there for Graham Jarvis. And there's no overtaking at this point, is there? I know we've just seen someone on the run up, but it gets so narrow up there. Here's a look back at Billy Bolt helping out with Manny Lettenbichler, because you saw Graham Jarvis, they got to this kind of point, but ploughed on. It felt like Billy Bolt arrived and was like, right, we've got to help each other.
Yeah, I think they maybe gave up just a little bit quick, or maybe they just used all their energy.
So Graham Jarvis now continuing on his way. You see the rear wheel spinning as he tries to get any kind of traction at all. Johnny Walker trying to follow him along. Look at that, they're almost just sliding down into that netting every time. You got to haul the bike back up. And here's Manny Lettenbichler, he's come back then. So Manny Lettenbichler back to help Billy Bolt, and that means Graham Jarvis is the new leader of the 2018 Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble. So from 17th at the first checkpoint, you said don't count him out, he's now leading. Amazing stuff from Graham Jarvis, and here, same old story, Lettenbichler and Bolt still stuck at Green Hell.
Yep. Great show of sportsmanship, though. Letty could have just taken off there and maybe even hung on to the lead, but he came back to help.
Yeah. There's Johnny Walker, who's buried in the trees over the other side of the course. Yeah, because Jarvis was away and on the fast stretches. And now you can hear the applause for Letton Bickler and Billy Bolt, who, after helping each other out, are going to carry on their way. Letton Bickler has to walk back to his bike, but that is the lead of the race gone for him. But good sportsmanship between them. Do you think they'll live to regret it?
Well, they definitely lost positions here at Erzberg, but if you didn't come back and help him out, you know, these guys are going to see each other at races for the next several years. These are the young guns in the sport, and these are the future. So it wouldn't be smart to bail out.
But Graham Jarvis is the first man to conquer Green Hell, looking for his 4th win. This is Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. Our leaders are coming into the penultimate challenge of the 19.7-mile course around the Erzberg Iron Mine in Austria. And this is Graham Jarvis, the race leader, coming into the closing stages. He's tackling checkpoint 23 at Dynamite. And Jeff Aaron, at this point, it must really be taking its physical toll on the body, this mountain.
Yeah, the racers have been working hard the whole day, and now they got to keep momentum and traction up these dry, loose sections, and it's impressive.
Up to the crest and through checkpoint 23 then goes Graham Jarvis. He's in the lead. Second place is Johnny Walker. Not quite as adept in these conditions as Graham Jarvis, but it's very different now again to Green Hell that we saw a moment ago.
Yeah, it looks like he's in a little bit of trouble here, but looks like he's going to get out of it and get moving again.
A very strong performance this from Johnny Walker. And we're in that sort of, it's not quite flat out, but it's not quite the same as Carl's dinner.
Momentum and traction is the key here.
So Johnny Walker about to complete Dynamite, if he can hook it all up. And a little bit further up the course is Tina Dixon.
Jack, I'm at Lazy Noon, which is really going to be the final test for these riders. I'm looking down and it's incredibly steep. It's really loose. It's going to be very difficult to get any type of traction, and it's even longer than last year. And in the past, we've seen riders having to do this multiple times. It's cost them. They're at the end of a very long race. They're exhausted. So looking ahead, getting your line perfect, and doing it on your first try could be the difference maker between first and second.
First at the moment is Graham Jarvis, second is Johnny Walker, but in third place is Manny Lettenbickler. Was leading earlier on, but ran into those troubles at Green Hell, and now is trying to wrestle his bike up the hill. The youngest man ever to complete this event in 2014, aged just 16, so certainly a long future in the sport. His father Andreas, as we've mentioned, won it, so maybe the first ever father and son winner of this event, but maybe not today because he's running in third place, and doesn't sound as though that engine's running at the moment, Jeff.
No, he's having trouble with his electric starter, and the bike's acting a little finicky, so we'll see what he does to try to get this thing started up again.
How do you usually start the bike with the electric starter? Is it, you don't have to kick, I presume?
No, you just push a button and the bike will restart, and which has been great for extreme enduro events, but when it doesn't work, you got to use the manual kicker.
So here he comes down the hill, trying to almost bump start it. Oh, there it goes. It fires up just as he gets to the bottom. Not a moment too soon there, because you can go downhill without an engine. I imagine going uphill without it isn't going to be easy as he tries to get to the final part. That's a big moment.
Too much throttle, and suddenly there's traction.
Is it tough to save those when the bike starts going up in the air?
He did a good job of not letting that get too out of control. That could have been bad.
So now the last couple of yards up, and that is checkpoint 23 completed for Manny Lettenbickler. Billy Bolt, fourth place, but still at Green Hell. He's further back down the hill than he was when we last saw him, so don't know what's gone on here, but Wade Young on the number 5 bike on the right-hand side has now joined him. This, I mean, it's living up to its name for Billy Bolt, isn't it?
Yeah, Wade's just made a pass, and it looks like Billy's spent, so we'll see what happens here. But it's definitely one of the toughest spots we've seen so far.
Billy just looks physically exhausted, doesn't he? You could kind of see it in his eyes just then, the man from the northeast of England. At least he knows how to get a bike up a hill now. Try and pull it to the left is the call from Wade Young.
Maybe he thinks if he helps out Wade, that Wade will help him, and maybe his nightmare will be over with.
Yeah. At some point, it's got to be, presumably. But there it goes. Wade Young just getting up a little bit higher. How do you know when to call time on your struggles? You know what I mean? How when you're on one of these parts, at what point do you go, you know what, I can't do this?
These guys are just working a couple feet at a time. They're just inching their way up this hill. And like you said before, it looks like Billy is on the edge of it, but he's still working at it, and I'm sure he'll get through it.
So a little push again for Wade Young. Hopefully Wade will come back and help Billy out, but he will be sick of the sight of this mountain at the moment, will Billy Bolt. Again, here Manny Lettenbichler really in contention for the win a little bit earlier on, but Green Hell has put paid to both of their hopes of taking victory.
Did you see his rear tire there? The thing was just almost completely bald. The knobbies are gone on that tire.
Here's Graham Jarvis at checkpoint 24, Lazy Noon, almost wheeling all the way up it there. This is such a fantastic performance from Jarvis. That looked like no trouble to him at all.
Yeah, that's one way to get traction, just keep it on the rear wheel the whole time.
Yeah, because presumably that transfers your weight, so you have all the grip there.
You're putting the power to the ground.
So Graham Jarvis now through probably the last big challenge, and now he will be going flat out towards the finish line.
Looks like more like a trail ride right now. He's just conserving some energy, and he's just steady right now.
Well, he's heading down to the finish area, which is down here at the bottom of the Iron Giant. The fans are growing in number, waiting to see who is going to win the 2018 edition of the Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble. And the crowd here, huge Hard Enduro fans, as you'd expect. And Wade Young has come back then to help Billy Bolt. So maybe Billy Bolt is finally going to leave this, 5 meters of course that he's been on for the last, I don't know how long.
I guess they call it Green Hell for a reason.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so there goes Billy Bolt. Meanwhile, Graham Jarvis still running. Johnny Walker in second place. He's getting to the top of Lazy Noon now. Good job from Johnny Walker. Gets his checkpoint scan and continues on his way with a bit of water down his back. And now he is on to the flat motocrossy element of the course, and that is where he will try and hunt down Graham Jarvis. Does he have anything left in the tank, or will Graham Jarvis taste victory for a 4th time? The 43-year-old doing a superb job out at the front as we enter the closing stages. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. We are about to crown a champion here at the Erzbergrodeo Hare Scramble as Graham Jarvis of the UK is just moments from the final checkpoint. Looking to win this race for a 4th time. He has completed the 20 miles in superb form, and he's now about to enter into the final arena and into where all the fans are waiting at checkpoint 25, the finish. What a ride this has been from Graham Jarvis.
Yeah, he came from so far back, and to take the win here is just huge.
A poor start, but absolutely superb through Carl's Dinner. Took the lead at Green Hell, and since then has not even needed to look back. The winner of the 2018 Ezbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble, Graham Jarvis. A huge hug with Carl Katok, the organizer of the race. A 4th win for Jarvis. He's got some experience, hasn't he?
Amazing ride out of Graham Jarvis.
So he takes his win tally from 3 to 4. Johnny Walker is still stuck on 3. A decent ride from the Englishman, but it's only going to be 2nd place for Johnny Walker as he comes over to take the checkered flag. You can see the delight for Graham Jarvis there on the right-hand side. But what a ride from this man as well, Manny Lettenbichler. A really strong performance. Got into trouble at Green Hell, but he is a rider with a really strong future in front of him, I think.
Yeah, this is the future of Hard Enduro. this podium was a great ride for him.
So here comes Manny Lettenbichler. His father, Andreas Lettenbichler, has won the race in previous years. We saw him helping his son out there on the course. And now he is going to return into the stadium section where all the fans are waiting. And the German is going to finish in third spot as he gets his final checkpoint scan. A question of what could have been, I suppose. Those 5 minutes in green hell will probably haunt him for the next 12 months.
Yeah, well, he's going to come back next year and probably be even stronger.
He will certainly hope so. The crowd enjoying seeing Manny Lettenbichler finish third in the 2018 Red Bull Hare Scramble. High fives all around and a shake of the head from Lettenbichler. That was hard work for him. And well, what a race that was. And it all, for Graham Jarvis anyway, came down to this part of the course, Carl's Dinner. He was just so strong through there. To me, he just keeps going. You see other riders stop, waiting. He's just non-stop.
Yeah, he gained so much time in this area. He was all over the back of Johnny Walker and just goes, again, back to his trial skills. He just knows how to find traction. He's good at picking lines. His balancing throttle control is second to none.
So that's where Graham Jarvis sealed the victory, and now he's talking to Tina.
And Graham Jarvis does it again, now a 4-time winner here at this event. And Graham, what were your expectations, especially after that start?
Well, you know, I've always had bad starts, so I'm telling myself this is time I'm going to get a good start, but it just never seemed to happen. I got tangled up. There was so much dust, it was pretty dangerous going up them first hills, so I was way back at the start. So a bit of bad luck then, but it all turned around at Green Hill. A bit of luck on my side. But across the Carl's Diner, you know, that's the best I've ever ridden across there, so that's probably what made the difference.
And it was so close. I'm looking at the times right now between you and Johnny and Manny there. Has it ever been this tight, and did you feel that pressure?
Yeah, definitely a lot more pressure now, but, you know, the level of riding, there's more riders. We expected it to be a close race, and you've just got to deal with that pressure now. And, you know, 1 or 2 mistakes, it can go either way, so who cares? I got here and I've won.
You did it 4 times now. Congratulations, Graham.
Very much. Cheers.
Jack.
Thank you, Tina. Here's a look at our top 12 finishers. Colton Haker down in 12th place, the fastest of the USA riders, having been quickest in qualifying. 8th, Tadej Blazusiak, who was leading in the early stages. Billy Bolt ended up in 5th place after sacrificing his race for 2 of his rivals. But Graham Jarvis, the winner in 2018. Back to you, Sal.
Thank you, Jack, and thanks to all of you for joining us here at the 2018 Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble in Eisenhorst, Austria, the home of the Iron Giant. Congratulations to a man who shows no signs of slowing down. He has now clinched his 4th win, the silent assassin, Graham Jarvis. Also, congratulations to Johnny Walker and Manuel Lettenbichler for rounding out the podium, showing the sportsmanship and true heart award for a guy who's definitely going to be a future champion with the best name, Billy Bolt, for his selfless acts in helping out his fellow competitors in the appropriately named Green Hell section of the course. Billy, you get our signature moment, sir. I expect some great things from the youngsters in the field, but once again, Graham Jarvis remains the man to beat at 43 years young. The Red Bull Signature Series travels from the Alps of Austria to the Bavarian capital of Germany to the Olympic Park in Munich, Germany. Jamie Foy, Zion Wright, Curran Caples, and an international field will take on a new format of slopestyle skateboarding that you do not want to miss. Be sure to join us for the inaugural Red Bull roller coaster on September 9th, right here on FS1. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us. Be sure to follow us in any manner in which you get social. On behalf of our entire crew, including Jack Nichols, Jeff Aaron, Tina Dixon, my name is Sal Masekela, and we will see you next time.